Hey guys, this is Logan, and welcome to my latest project review video. Basically, what I did for this independent project was I worked on an app I've been developing for the city of Lindsborg. This app will allow the users to hold their phones up to signs of different buildings on Main Street and receive historical information on them. The app is being made in conjunction with the 150th anniversary of Lindsborg and will eventually be available for both Apple and Android. I am currently using Unity to develop the app with. So, overall, for my project plan, I felt like it was better organized this time, and I didn't end up following my timeline that closely, although, strangely enough, I felt like it worked better this time than the rest of the times, because a lot of my other plans, to be honest, were a little bit sloppy compared to this one. And a lot of it, though, had to do with, as far as the layout for this project, it was a lot simpler. There were a lot, there were technically more of moving parts of this project, but as far as the plan goes, there were less moving parts. So, my original plan was to simply work on the framework for the app during the first 3 weeks, basically set up the menus that would appear using augmented reality, which is actually what's powering the app and allowing people to hold their phone up to the signs. And then on the fourth week, I was planning on working on a separate drop down menu that would have extra options like gallery and credits for um, showing all the places I got information from and listing me as the developer and, extras like that. But in retrospect, my timeline was barely followed at all. The original week, basically, I actually finished most of the framework and got to start working on the menu. But then during the second week, when I tried to continue on the menu, I hit a roadblock, which slowed me down. But through all of the overestimates and underestimates, I actually managed to get everything I wanted to get done, and even a little bit extra. So for the resources in my project, I had a forum that showed me how to integrate UIs, which are user interfaces. They're basically menus that allow people to interact with things in the game. To Vuforia, which is the augmented reality plugin I'm using for Unity. I also had a YouTube video showing me how to make a fade script, which basically made the transitions for my menus appearing and disappearing easier. And I also had the Unity UI wiki, which basically helped me through any odd problems I had with working with UIs. So for my software, obviously I'm using Unity 3D and Vuforia, but I also use Photoshop because Unity for the UIs had their own default backgrounds, and it wasn't bad, but I didn't like the black outline around all the buttons and menus and things. So I used Photoshop to create a similar one, but I got rid of the black outline. And I haven't used Xcode yet, but I will be using it when I start publishing the app because luckily Unity will export Android apps just out of the program, but it won't do that for Apple. So I have to connect Unity to Xcode and export it through Xcode's features to be able to make it for Apple. So for week one, in my learning, I basically developed the main framework for my app. I made the menus able to appear when when the app recognizes a sign, and I learned how to integrate the UI elements into Vuforia, which is actually kind of tough to do because augmented reality is normally used with 3D models instead. And then, because I finished the framework like a whole 2 weeks early, I started working on the drop down menu. This is the script I had to make for working with Vuforia and UIs. And basically, what it's saying is once it senses a change in Vuforia's state, basically meaning if Vuforia has detected something or if whatever it was detecting has gone away, it will activate a function which actually I created in the next week as a part of the fade script. And basically, the way the fade script works is if the menu is visible, it'll make the menu invisible, and vice versa. So this script will activate the fade in or fade out command depending on whether the menu is visible or not. During week 2, I made the fade script I kind of discussed earlier, and I wanted the fade script because before I had the fade script, menus appearing was kind of like a jump scare. It was really jerky. So I really wanted a nice smooth transition between the menus appearing and disappearing to give it a more professional and less jerky look. But during week 2, I encountered my largest issue I've currently had. And basically, the problem was that menus started becoming inactive when you wanted to interact with them. And many solutions were tried to get it to work, and a little panicking was done as well. But I finally figured out what the problem was. And basically, what was going on is before I had the fade script, I was just activating and deactivating the menus. So when I deactivated the menu, it was almost like it didn't exist, and everything was working fine as if that menu wasn't there. But when I had the fade script, it was merely making the menu transparent. So when you were clicking on the menu behind it, you were actually still interacting with the menu in front, even though you couldn't see it. So I had to alter my fade script to actually deactivate the menu once it was fully invisible, and that fixed the problem. So this is my fade script, and basically what it does is it has the fade in and fade out commands, and well, actually I have 3 separate fade scripts. This is the combined one. Actually, I had fade in and fade out for the other one because unfortunately for the main menu, when I had the regular fade, there was so much going on with uh, that menu showing up that I had to separate it into 2 scripts. But this is the combined one, and basically what it says is that if the menu is visible, it'll have the transparency value go up and make it, if it's visible, it'll make the transparency value go down and make it invisible. And if it's invisible, it'll make the transparency value go up and make it visible when this command is activated. During weeks 3 and 4, I didn't do too much new learning, but I finalized some menu formatting, made them look a little bit nicer, more final, I guess you could say. And I built a gallery, basically has a whole bunch of cool images of old Lindsborg that people will be able to look at, because you can't really have a historical app without cool photos of the town. So for my reflection, I think my largest success was when I figured out the whole menus becoming inactive problem, because I'm actually getting paid for this app, and if I had failed in building the app, it would be a big problem. So actually working through the issue and being able to continue farther on this app and not having to worry about failure, at least for the time being, was really, really freeing. And then the largest problem was the menus becoming inactive. Then what I would redo with this project, I would probably find more resources to start off with, because I think if I had done a little bit more research beforehand, I might have been able to avoid the whole menu becoming inactive problem entirely. And my learning moment was probably realizing that I needed more resources. Alright guys, so basically this is going to be a quick demo of what my app can do so far. So here is the sign to a shop on Main Street, Rendezvous Adventure Outfitters, and when you hold that phone up to the sign, a little blue button will appear in the top. So you don't have to see the information if you don't want to, if that's not the specific building you're looking for. But if it is, you can click the little blue button, and it'll give you a menu filled with a whole bunch of information on the building, like what it was originally. In this case, Rendezvous was the Clarine Peterson restaurant, when the building was built, and a general description of that building's history. You've also got a little menu up in the corner, And right now, the only option I have in the menu is gallery, but there will be a few other things when the app is finished. And this is just a gallery full of a whole bunch of images of old Lindsborg, like the Main Street fire, the railroad tracks, the Olsen Bros blacksmith, and a couple art studios and stuff like that. And actually, I have a new feature I added in just yesterday, where if you click on an image, it's kind of finicky, but it's meant to be on a phone, so it's kind of hard to see on the computer. But if you hold the phone sideways when you click on an image, you'll be able to have the image expanded for you, so you can see it a lot better than if you were just looking at it on that tiny little menu. So I think that'll be better for people when they want to see the images instead of having to look at that tiny thing. That's basically the way my app works so far, and yeah, thank you for watching my current project review, and I guess I'll see you for my next project.